Alrighty, welcome ladies and gentlemen to another YongYea Q&A live stream. This is for February 28th, 2018, and I am really excited to have you guys here. It is always nice to take a break from making video content and chat with the people who make this job so awesome, who keep me motivated to keep pushing videos out and keeping the content at the highest quality and all that. So it is nice to see all of you again. And judging by the chat, it does seem as though this is going well. No technical issues. I downloaded some plugins for audio. So, you know, I've got all these various effects going on at the same time so that even when I'm talking softly or talking loudly, you guys get to hear me at like pretty consistent levels. So welcome Love Sniping, welcome Princess Stabbity, welcome YBEC, Stephen McDevitt, Emperor Obvious, Mind Despot. It is awesome to have all of you here. Think of your questions while I peruse Patreon here and answer some questions that people who couldn't make it left me in the comments. So I'll start with Joel Wesley Salyer. He says, I'm a bit curious what you would consider your highest skill level among all the games you played. So I guess what you're wondering is, what is the game that I'm best at, if I'm interpreting that correctly? You know, I would have to say that the game that I'm best at is Super Smash Brothers. I'm actually quite good at that game, especially Melee is my favorite in the series because of all the meta, all the tech, you know, the wave dashing and all that. Like, I subscribe to that stuff, you know? So I play as Sheik in Melee, and I fucking kick ass. I talk trash when I play Melee. It's about the only game where I will, like, talk trash at people because I'm so into Melee. But I played the Wii U version, and I really liked it. Didn't like Brawl so much because of all the tripping mechanics, which I thought were really stupid, but yeah, Smash Melee is one of my favorite games ever to play local multiplayer. I get really into it, and I'm quite good. I would say I'm like in terms of world population or whatever, I'd say I'm better than like 99% of people, but within that 1% where all the like enthusiasts are in, I'm like low 10%. I mean, there's so many people who are just insanely good, and I remember one time I played against Mewtwo King in this local tournament, and that's when I realized how much of a gap there could be in this game. I thought myself to be pretty good. I could, you know, get some lives, stocks off of people, even who are better than me. I could, like, hold my own. With Mewtwo King, it was like playing against the pitch-perfect AI. I could not touch him, I couldn't remove a single life off of him, and it was a revelation. It really opened my eyes to the fact that that's how good you can get at this game. So, I'm quite good at Melee, but I'm nowhere close to, like, top-tier professional. So, that's my answer for that. We've got Brenton Cunny, who says, Hey Yong, I was wondering if you watched any Harry Potter movies, and if you have, which one's your favorite? Oh man, you know, I have very fond memories of both Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber of Secret, because I feel like they captured a certain Harry Potter-y magic that I think future films lost when they got all kind of like dark and gritty. I remember, like, a lot of people say Azkaban is their favorite, but when I was a kid, I was very disappointed by Azkaban. It just felt very drab for some reason, but I guess the films needed to mature with the books. So once I grew up, I realized, oh wait, Azkaban is actually a damn good movie. It's beautiful cinematically, and it tells the story very well, and it's very feature complete. So, favorite is a tough one, though. Oh my god, it's not Goblet of Fire, it's not Order of the Phoenix. You know, it might be Deathly Hallows Part 2, actually. I think Harry Potter, I'm pretty sure, started the trend of splitting movies into 2 parts, but they actually did it for a good reason. And I thought the 2 parts, it worked really well. And part 2 just it was the culmination of everything, and they put it on screen really well. And obviously, it's not 1-to-1 with the books. I don't care about that because I know that movie versions of books will never capture the books 1-on-1. It's just not possible. That's not my expectation. So I was perfectly happy and content with what they did with Deathly Hallows Part 2. So that's, I'd say, my pick for now. But I don't know. I ultimately, I liked all of them. I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, so special place in my heart because Harry Potter was one of the first books ever that I read when I was learning English. So it was a fun book that taught me how to speak the language that allows me to do this, YouTubing, and live here in the US. Melhem Makahal asks, Konami keeps on making bullshit moves when it comes to video games, but wonder if they try some of the similar crap in other things they publish, excluding pachinkos, e.g. Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game. I'm not too much into the Yu-Gi-Oh! Scene, so I wouldn't know. What I do know is that we have seen franchises like Castlevania and Silent Hill kind of fall off because Konami just, the original creators, the guys who made these series good, they up and left because they got tired of Konami's bullshit or whatever it was. And Konami just kind of, steer that plane into a mountain. And now they've kind of faded into the background, which is why we're seeing games like Bloodstained, which is the spiritual successor to Castlevania. We're seeing those on Kickstarter as a means to revitalize that type of game that was lost because Konami they don't know how to handle high-profile franchises because they don't look at it from an artistic standpoint. They look at everything from how do we make the most money off of this? And their solution is to make everything pachinkos. There's Silent Hill pachinkos, Castlevania pachinkos, now Metal Gear pachinkos. Then we got Metal Gear Survive, which is this generic thing that they try to make mainstream by shoving zombies in there. And, of course, it has just disgusting forms of microtransactions. $10 for a save slot. Fuck you, Konami. Seriously, fuck Konami. So I don't know if that answers that question, but that's as far as I can say in that regard. Anyway, we got a few people here in the chat. Love Sniping asks, have you gotten into any of the games that came out this one year? I'm assuming you mean 2018. Monster Hunter World, I've been quite addicted by. Not been able to play as much lately because I've just been busy. But that's a game that it took a bit for it to sink its hooks into me. But once it did, I mean it's pretty addictive, and it's just the game that you play and you have fun with. You don't have to worry about if they're trying to exploit you. It's just a great game with I feel like Monster Hunter World is live service done right. Like a game that does evolve, that if you log in, you get rewards, and it's continuously evolved with new monsters. The game just grows and grows, but with none of the monetary bullshit behind it. Like, the idea of live service isn't bad if it's done correctly. Like, Splatoon 2, I think, is a great live service game because they keep adding new weapons, new maps, events like Splatfest, and it's a game that's always alive, but they don't charge you for anything. You pay the $60 and you get everything, and that's true live service. So, yeah, Monster Hunter World hooks into me. I hope to get into Shadow of Colossus remake when I have the time. I've been trying to play Kingdom Hearts. That's not a game that came out this year, but I've been trying to get into that because Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming out. But it's the first game. Oh man, the beginning is rough. It's a bunch of fetch quests. Combat is a little clunky, so it's taking a bit of time for me to get engaged into it. But I'm hanging in there and waiting for the game to get to the good stuff. But for now, I'd have to say Monster Hunter World. What else is Has anything else come out? I know I really want to get God of War, Last of Us Part 2. There's just a lot of games coming out in 2018 that I'm looking forward to. Let's see, I'm thinking about purchasing Yakuza 0 soon, because that's something that a lot of people have been recommending. So, yeah, for now, that's the answer I'll give. Monster Hunter World. Mine Despot says, can't wait for the next Smash. I can't either. It's coming out on Switch, I'm sure, and the ability to take the console wherever you want, and local multiplayer with other people, that's awesome, because as much as I love online functionality, like the Smash Brothers for Wii U and 3DS, there's like enough of a delay between your input and what's going on screen that it throws me off. So online is not ideal, but if you can take your console and play with other people just out in the street or whatever, I can stay competitive. And so yeah, I'm really looking forward to Smash on Switch, and I hope they have like Joy-Cons that are shaped like GameCube controllers, like two halves that are split, and then you can kind of like slide them in and have that tactile GameCube control scheme. That'd be cool. So that's that. Thank you all for your awesome questions. Let's see. Stephen McDevitt, how often do you miss covering good AAA releases when having to cover industry bullshit on a daily basis, i.e., loot boxes, EA, Activision, etc.? I miss it tremendously. The build-up to Metal Gear Solid 5 was just some of the most fun I've ever had in my life, you know, especially with people watching and supporting me. But, you know, with the loot boxes video, obviously there's a lot of people who are very passionate about this topic, and so the comments can get a little heated and all that. And there's some people who just miss the good old days when I could just cover Metal Gear all day long, but yeah, I miss those days a lot. And hopefully as Death Stranding, as that sort of revs up in terms of the information that comes out, hopefully after Cyberpunk 2077 gets announced, I can focus on covering games that I'm really interested in. But until then, it's just there's so much crap going on in the industry, and I've sort of gravitated towards that because it's just gotten worse and worse to a point where it's really ruining my love for this medium. Like, I remember when I used to look forward to many of the AAA, you know, third-party titles, and now it's just, I'm always weary, or is it weary about, I'm always cautious about what these games might really be at their core. Like, what is it hiding? And that's no way to approach a medium that you love. So yeah, I really do, trust me, people, I do miss covering good news, and I try as much as I can when something that interests me catches my eye. Like, you know, the Death Stranding 1 hour analysis, that was a work of passion. That was one of the videos that I'm most proud of in 2018, and it was the first video of 2018. It's probably the video that I'm most satisfied with this year thus far, because it was such a blast to go back to the good old days, that feeling. But I do think that covering loot boxes and stuff is important, and it's not like I'm just covering it because, oh, it draws in an audience. I'm genuinely passionate about this topic. You know, I don't cover things that are just popular. It's, you know, I try to balance my content with what people want to see and what I like to cover, and try to meet you guys halfway there. And yeah, you know, I don't know. This is just what I feel like I should be doing, and I don't regret it. So I know some people would like me to be less negative, or stop beating the dead horse, as some people like to say. But the horse is not dead. That's the problem. I keep beating it, but it's like it's getting stronger. Game publishers make more money off of microtransactions than ever before. So if there's a time to not stop talking about this shit, it's now, when things are moving so fast with government officials coming into play, the ESRB issuing their bullshit response with just adding the label in-game purchases into everything, basically, whether it's Witcher 3 with its DLCs or Battlefront 2 with its pay-to-win loot boxes. So, anyway, I hope that kind of answers your question. Let's see. Mind Despot asks, Young, what are your expectations, predictions, and really just general thoughts on the next Super Smash on Switch? I guess I kind of answered that. GameCube controller Joy-Cons, a bigger character roster, more third-party selection of characters, like Cloud and stuff like that. That's awesome. And I hope they bring back some of the technical aspects from Melee, that fast-paced, visceral, or have a game where you have two modes, one that allows for things like wave dashing and another more casual, friendly mode that disables all that. Like, I hate that they aren't embracing the meta that makes this game so exciting. Like, one thing is if it's like this big glitch that throws the game off balance, but I feel like things like wave dashing just makes the game more exciting. Albeit it does make the gap, the skill gap much greater, but again, if you offer different modes that are tailored to different audiences, that might work. So that, I guess that's sort of an extrapolation upon my previous discussion on Smash Brothers for Switch. Devin Fox, hello. Have you seen some reactions to the Death Stranding trailer that came out during the Game Awards? YouTuber Tyrone Magnus had a pretty funny one when it came to the baby inside Sam. I don't know that specific YouTuber, but I did watch a couple like reactions, and yeah, when the baby, when the camera dives into Sam's esophagus and the baby comes up with the thumbs up, yeah, that's you get this look of what, like every video I've seen of people reacting, there's this shift in their face that is pretty hilarious. There's this already confused face that really just goes, the fuck? Like, just completely takes a different twisted form of confusion. It's awesome. So yes, I have seen some of those videos. So I hope that answers your question. Feras Ameen asks, what are your thoughts on the Creation Club and the future of Elder Scrolls and Fallout games with it? Yeah, the Creation Club was a big topic a couple months back, and my stance on it is still exactly the same. It's just paid mods with a different label on it. It's just paid mods. I get that there are some differences in that they hire modders as developers, so they're kind of like working on an official capacity as freelance of sorts, but it just feels shitty, and I feel like if we let them get away with this, they'll try to eat away at the free modding, the community modding scene, and try to sort of outdo that with their own system, but one with, you know, microtransactions and crappy like premium currency purchases that are tiered with packages that in which you can't purchase specific amounts, and it's overpriced. Nobody asked for this, and I think they should keep focusing on just the single player games because they tend to sell well because they offer so much freedom, and Bethesda Softworks or Bethesda Game Studios games have a reputation that they carry with them because of how open-ended they are. And I think fucking with the ability for people to mod, which is a big appeal, a big part of why Bethesda is so renowned today, if they strip that away from people by adding a monetization bullshit scheme behind it, then it really is going to mar their reputation. And I hope they don't go that route after the universal negative backlash against this stuff. And you know, it's one thing is if the Creation Club offers like big content like expansions, you know, these mods that offer entire new maps with new enemies, and they charge a decent price for it, and these paid mods are made by modders who put a lot of time and effort into it. That's one thing, but the Creation Club just, they've been dumping like crap that people have already done, but just worse more often than not, and they charge like $5 for like a stupid skin. It's ridiculous. It's the pricing model is off, the mentality behind it is off. It's just stupid, and I pray that they move away from that and that they don't more deeply ingrain Creation Club into future titles like Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 5 and whatever, Starfield, whatever other titles they have in the works. This better not be foreshadowing a future of paid mods, because that would just suck. So, with that, I suppose I will answer some more questions. Mine D-Spot says, thanks for pronouncing my name correctly. By the way, people say Mine Depot, which eventually devolves into Home Depot. That's unfortunate, but I'm glad I managed to pronounce it correctly. Let's see. Ooh, here's an interesting question. Red Calgz asks, least favorite Star Wars movie and why? It's a close tie between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. I think a lot of people say Attack of the Clones, but for me, I think, no, you know what? I don't know. No, I'd have to say Attack of the Clones. Attack of the Clones had some cool moments at the end, like when Yoda started battling Count Dooku. However brief that was as a kid, I remember that shattering my fucking mind to smithereens. Because I used to always imagine Yoda as this frail old man. He has knowledge, but, you know, nothing else to show for it. Like, nobody really quite understood what the big deal was about this guy until he started, like, fucking spinning around and demonstrating his prowess as a Jedi Master. So that was a cool moment, but other than that, like, it was just such a cringy movie. And, but then again, Phantom Menace, just, other than the battle against Darth Maul, that's just an amazingly well-realized sequence. Other than that, the rest of the movie feels so just, like, you could have skipped all that. You could have flat out just summarized all that in one of the Star Wars title scrolls. You could have summarized the events of Phantom Menace. You could have done without Jar Jar. It's just, I feel like Phantom Menace is just, it's more painful to watch sometimes than Attack of the Clones is, but it's a close one between those two. I don't know. I'll say for now, Phantom Menace was better just because Darth Maul is so fucking awesome. So that's that. I do not think that Last Jedi was so bad that it was like worse than Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. I do think it was a very flawed movie though. But I like some of the ideas behind it. It's just in execution, I think they failed in various areas, and they failed to extrapolate enough for me to be able to buy certain circumstances that the movie presented, where I'm like, okay, maybe that could happen, but you don't explain, you're making me go, just trust me on this one. Like Luke possibly murdering, his sister's son. I'm not going to say it's utterly impossible that would happen, but things would have to be bad enough that it might get to that point. Like, I don't think Luke is Jesus. I don't think he's perfect. Like, a friend of mine pointed out to me how in episode 6, you see like a dark side to him when he's like wailing at Darth Vader, and then like he looks at his mechanical arm, and that's when he kind of stops and says, nah, I'm not gonna. So Luke Skywalker has had moments of weakness, but it's just like they build up to that, whereas with Last Jedi, he kind of goes, oh no, vroom. And that's all we're shown of why Luke would let things go that far. and they're just basically saying, you know, take our word for it. It was that bad. But I'm like, nah, you can't just make me take such a huge jump in logic without explaining what the hell happened. Anyway, I could rant about Last Jedi all day because I'm conflicted by that movie. I liked many aspects of it, but there are also aspects of it that I'm like, oh, how, why would you, why? It's so contrived, why? Anyway, but you know, I respect all opinions. I'm not leaning one way or another. I'm not, I hate it. I'm not, I love it. I'm like in the middle and I don't know, shifting back and forth. Okay, so that answers that question. Let's see. I don't want to. I'm trying to make sure I read carefully in case I miss anything. Let's see. Okay. YBEC asks, have you ever considered doing an interview with Chris Lee, kind of like the ones you did of various voice actors way back when? That is something that I have considered, and I might do that. I might reach out to him. I'm waiting for the story to develop a bit more so I can have more questions that... I just feel like there's so much that is still up in the air right now that, you know, I'm waiting for a good time, I guess, is the thing that I'm trying to say. Though, you know, with the ESRB having responded with their utterly crap solution, or non-solution, I should call it, to just slap games with a in-game purchases sticker to inform people about their purchases. You know, just oh my god, just the audacity that the ESRB has. Just how stupid do they think we are? With that development, that could make for some interesting back and forth with someone like Chris Lee, who might offer his own take on it. Yeah, he seems pretty knowledgeable about the issue. I don't think that's gonna make him go, oh well, problem solved. I think if anything, it's gonna make him it's gonna piss him off more. It's gonna piss him off is the wrong term. It's gonna make him more driven to pursue this issue, because it is so egregious that they're trying to dilute the issue by categorizing loot boxes and, you know, substantial expansions in the same category, and trying to bury loot boxes under all these other forms of more honest and fair transactions. So if anything, what the ESRB did is gonna just fuel the fire even more. So, you know, yeah, I'll certainly think about that. That's certainly something that I'd be interested in doing. So, good call on that. Good reminder. What else do we have here? Oh, somebody explained to me before I was saying weary or wary. So mine D-Spot says weary is tired, wary is cautious. Thank you. I always get those two confused, so it's good to know now. Weary is tired, wary is cautious. With that out of the way, let's move on to the next question. Are there any videos or topics on the back burner you wish to cover or discuss but haven't had the chance to thus far? This is a question by YBEC. I'm thinking maybe about making a video about why I loved Persona 5 so much, because the thematic consistency of that game and just how relevant it is to events of my life, just society as a whole in its current state, the message that it sends in that regard. It's awesome. A lot of people look at it and go, oh, it's a dating sim with RPG elements. I couldn't disagree more. This game, you know, this game is about stealing hearts. Well, Persona 5 stole my heart. Badoons. And so I've been meaning to, I guess, talk about that. I've become so attached to the characters, their circumstances. I feel like there are pieces of me in each of the characters. Like I can relate to each of the characters in some way, and in their struggle to change the status quo or rebel against the expectations that have been set upon them, when these expectations are bullshit, and just stuff like that got me thinking a lot about life. So that's one game that I would love to talk about someday, if, you know, if the gaming industry chills a bit with their bullshit, you know, that'd be nice. YBC also asks, what's your favorite thing about the Discord channel aside from the yabs, of course. LOL. Oh god. The yabs. Oh man, all the yabs. My favorite thing about the Discord channel is honestly, it sounds like a cop-out answer, but it's honestly like you guys, the people. You guys keep it alive. You guys always are talking about something. And, you know, I may not always reply, and that's usually because I'm working on a video or something, but I always read through that stuff. And you guys are always very civil, and it just feels very tight-knit. Like, we already, you know, the yabs came out of nowhere, and everyone's in on it. And, I don't know, it just feels like a tight-knit community. Like, it's like a own little subsection of passionate people who, you know, just of incredible supporters who just motivate me every day to do this. And it's just been amazing to meet some of you, you know, like in person, talk to you, whether it's via here, the Q&A, or, you know, face to face. It's just, everyone is just super nice, super supportive, and everyone is always very proactive with discussions and raising interesting points. And even when there are differing opinions, I love that everyone's civil and we can just sort of express our different viewpoints without degrading into some toxic environment. So just thank you guys for you guys are the ones kind of keeping this thing alive. And as more people come in, it's just more exciting for me. So yeah, that's definitely it. Oh god. Bangstone Skooma asks, I'm a YongYea noob. What's a yab? This is a yab. It's a dab done by Yong. Fuck, I did it again. God damn it, what have I done? What have I done? Oh, fuck. Okay. I've just started another shitstorm. This is... Alright, anyway, that's your answer. That's a yab. I hope it was worth it. I never feel comfortable doing that. I feel like an idiot doing that. I don't understand the appeal of dabs. And I think that just means I'm getting old. Maybe. But I don't know. Whatever. It's a thing people do. Just, you do you. But I try to do that as least as possible. But, you know, since everyone here seems so obsessed with yabs, I figured, you know, you guys have been awesome. So maybe you deserve one. Oh, God. On the Discord, somebody just posted he did it. All caps with an exclamation. Fucking hell. Fantastic. Moving on. Stephen McDevitt, I think in reference to the Star Wars discussion, so you don't like sand. Nah, it's just, it's coarse, it gets everywhere, it's just the worst. Sand, fuck sand. Seriously, when I go to the beach, just like gets inside and outside and in nooks and crannies that I didn't even know existed. You know, hashtag I can relate. Hashtag relatable. I can relate, Anakin. Sand is terrible. So a lot of Star Wars stuff. Stephen McDevitt, would you ever sing to yourself? That's what he asks. I don't know, like, would I serenade to myself? No, I'm not, like, in love with myself. Do I jam out to some tune sometimes? Sure. Especially when I'm driving, you know, I put on, I don't know, lately I've been listening to a lot of Hamilton, and I've been trying to learn the lyrics, so, you know, I'll be jamming in the car. Dun 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 doo, 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 doo. How does a bastard, orphan, son of a whore and a Scotsman, all that stuff. It's pretty cool. Love the music of Hamilton. It's great. God, everyone. I'm looking towards the bottom of the chat. Everyone's saying, "Oh, he did it! LOL. New yap for the Discord." You get these like once every few months, all right? This is not something I just give out. This is for special occasions, okay? So there you go. So I'm gonna read through a few more comments here. Joel Knight says, "For what it's worth, Young, I think Persona 5 is both. Oh, is both, actually. You can't really ignore the obvious waifu simulator pandering of the game. However, as all the Personas, it has a strong theme and point." I do not disagree that there are dating sims aspects to the game. They're obviously trying to set you up with all these, you know, perfect waifus. Just honestly, so many waifus. It's like you want all of them. But everyone's compelling in their own way, and it's not just about, you know, the size of their breasts or whatever. I think everyone is, in Persona 5 in particular, everyone is compelling in some way. Futaba, her vulnerability that evolves into sort of confidence. Ann Takamaki, who's sort of trying to become stronger as an individual rather than be submissive. Fucking Kawakami, the teacher. That was one of my favorite social links. It starts off really fucking weird, but it's I don't know, it's funny, but also touching, and also it just, I love the way that how that relationship begins and where it ends up. And the good thing about all this is that you don't have to date everyone you meet, right? You can choose between whether you want to date them or just be their friends. And I'm someone who values loyalty above all else, so even though I know it's a video game, it's just I can't get myself to like cheat on any of these characters. So I picked Anne as my Persona 5 waifu because it's just A, I love blondes. Something interesting happens. You know what I'm talking about. B, she just there are aspects to her character that I could relate to. Just this idea of her being this foreigner. She was kind of the weird one in Japan. Whether it was in her classes, you know, during school or whatever. And that was kind of a similar experience that I've had. I lived in Venezuela for the longest time. And so when I went to these Hispanic schools, I was kind of the weird one who stood out. And not you know, I had friends and all that, but, you know, people judged me for, you know, they looked at me differently as well. And they called me things based on my look and stuff. And so it was harder to blend in. And that's something that I can relate to with Anne. And that that kind of clicked for me. A lot of people see Anne as kind of like your typical ditzy girl. I think not. I do think her social link didn't go far enough. Like it made it about her modeling career instead of making it about her character. It just, her social link wasn't great, but her introduction was very strong. And she just made a strong impression on me. So that's why she became my waifu. Makoto was a close second. She's just badass. Like, that's just it. She's badass. She's smart. You know, she has looks, smarts. She's very ideal. And then Futaba I couldn't think of as waifu material. This is just me personally. The relationship was too too much like siblings. They weren't siblings, but it was more like she looked up to you rather than she was attracted to you, and so I couldn't get myself to think about her in a waifu way. Haru was just, I don't know, she was, she's very cute and innocent, but I think maybe her character got introduced too late or something. Just something about her never clicked. She's just a very nice person. But I don't know, I never felt any sort of connection with her, but she seemed like a nice person. I think we're getting really deep into the waifu stuff, aren't we? Anyway, I guess that's all I'll say about the matter for now. I could talk about Persona waifus all day, because not just because it's about who's the hottest one. You get to know who these people are. And that's something that Persona has always done really well. It's these people they feel like people. And you want to be friends with them and know what their deal is and help them if you can. So anyway, that's that. Mind D Spot asks, do you have any other hobbies besides gaming you love? Interesting question. Yes, I do. I'd say besides YouTubing and games, my other hobby that I absolutely, it's a passion for me almost, is acting. This right here, this shirt, it's a play that I did called Noises Off. And it's a play within a play, and the play within the play is just a complete disaster, and I played the director, and there's a movie of Noises Off, and Michael Caine played the character that I played for this particular theater troupe, the director, and I just yell at people and tell them how stupid they are, and I was just kind of an asshole throughout the whole play, so that was fun. So yeah, I love theater, acting, voice acting. I want to be a voice actor. That's one of my sort of lifelong dreams, I suppose, which is why I'm thinking about moving to LA to pursue that career. As much as I love theater, I think it's limited in scope in terms of the kinds of roles that I can play, because this right here, you know what I mean? This doesn't speak Hamlet, per se, when you look at this face. But with voice acting, as long as you can act and have the right range and voice, you can be whoever the hell you want to be. And I like that prospect. And not to mention that I would love to work with games, because I love games so much. So voice acting in games is sort of it would be a dream come true for me. Combines acting and games, my two favorite hobbies, into one beautiful package. So yeah, acting, I love acting, and I miss the theater. Lately I used to do a show, a play, or a musical every semester, essentially. And I would balance that with YouTubing, but lately I've been so busy that I've had to relinquish theater altogether, and I miss it so much. Just the camaraderie, this idea of everyone coming together to work towards the same goal, and being able to be silly and express yourself in all these different ways. There's nothing like it. A lot of people think theater is nerdy, but they're missing out, honestly. I guess another hobby that I love is D&D, which is also kind of like acting and games put together, except the stories, the graphics, the gameplay, and all that, it all happens here, right? You don't push a button to attack, you say I want to attack, and there are mechanics behind it, obviously, but the stories are told in here. We visualize things in here. The dungeon master sort of lays everything out for you, and the player says, what their decisions are, and they speak to the NPCs if you're into that thing, and if you're into role-playing. And it's some of the most incredible experiences you can have in D&D. Like, when you talk about D&D, you don't talk like, oh, remember when my character did this? You say, remember when I did this and you did that? It almost feels real, like this was something you experienced together for real. Because, at the end of the day, what is real but what's in here, you know? Even what I'm looking at now. This reality is all about what's in here. So when something feels real, even if it's fantasy, to me it might as well be real, you know? So I love D&D. I used to play guitar, but haven't been able to in the past few years, but I'd love to get back to that someday when I'm less busy. I just guitar is easily my favorite instrument. But it's, you know, I guess I could practice like 30 minutes a day, but I'm always just so tired. I don't know. I feel like I just want to, after a long day of making a video, I want to sit down and watch a movie or a TV show or play a game. And I guess one hobby that I want to get into is motorcycling. So I'm in April, I'm going to my local DMV to take motorcycle courses. And I've always been infatuated by motorcycles since I was young. And I don't know, I started looking through some motorcycles and I'm like, that looks badass. I would love to ride on that and it looks so much fun. And so I said, fuck it, I'm gonna try this out. So I'm signed up for some courses, and if that goes well, I might, you know, look into getting one for myself. And yeah, something, you know, something not too expensive, something beginner friendly. But motorcycling is something that I want to get into. Seems like a lot of fun, and obviously it's, you know, dangerous and all that, but I'm a careful driver. Haven't gotten in too many accidents while driving and all that, so I'll, you know, I give a lot of shits about my life, so I'll be sure to value it as I'm riding a motorcycle. So yeah. Jay Birds asks, have you been doing anything more in voice acting, Yong? I actually am involved in a few projects, nothing huge or anything. One of them is this mod for Fallout 4 called Sim Settlements. It's fairly popular. It was widely covered by a lot of media outlets, and I'm gonna play one of the NPCs there. And they're still writing the script for these NPCs, so I'm just waiting, hanging around until that comes in. But I submitted my audition stuff, and it turned out really well, and they said, yeah, we'd love to have you, and so that's that. I'm also involved in this indie game that I don't know if I should say what it is or if I'm allowed to say. I haven't signed like an NDR or not an NDR, an NDA or anything, and I don't think they would care, but also I don't know for sure, so I'm gonna keep that on the DL for now. But you know, I'm involved where I can be. I'm not doing Troy Baker level of work, obviously, but you know, just getting my foot in the door and getting the feel for it before I fully commit to it. Let's see. Let's see. Emperor Obvious, Yong, can we get an anecdote for a D&D session? What does anecdote mean? English, guys. My third language, for the record. Oh, or an amusing or interesting story about a real incident or person. What is something funny that has happened? Okay, so here's one. So in one of my D&D groups, the DM has it's a silly kind of world. So my DM put in what are called gachapon machines, and they're kind of like loot boxes. You basically pay a certain number of coins, you get a little gachapon, and you get a random item. It could be magical, whatever. Most of them are like joke items. And one of the items that I got was called the Arrow of Slaying. I mean, how badass does that sound? And I'm like, oh shit. And I'm a ranger in that campaign, or I'm a rogue that uses bow and arrow. I'm a bow and arrow assassin. it's like my official class is Rogue Assassin, but I use bow and arrow. I'm a long-range assassin. So I get this arrow of sling, and I'm like, oh shit, this is gonna be awesome. You know, it probably does tons of damage, who knows. And the DM doesn't like to disclose like what some of these items might or might not do. They sort of tell us to find out for ourselves. So, you know, I kept this thing for the longest time. And in one campaign session, we were fighting this boss, and he was he was tough. And I figured, now is the time. I shall use the arrow of slaying. And so I pull it out, and I'm feeling pretty good. And I roll to attack, natural 20. I'm feeling all sorts of awesome, and I'm like, oh yeah, this guy is fucked. Can't wait to see all the damage that it does. With added sneak attack, and if you play D&D, I'm sure you kind of know what I'm talking about. And so I shoot the arrow, but I see the DM. He's kind of like, I don't know, just he's acting weird, like things aren't as I think they are. So as soon as I shoot this arrow with a natural 20, this arrow of slaying, what he describes is basically, as the arrow's flying through, it transforms into like Santa Claus riding on a sleigh with a bunch of reindeers, and it just kind of flies off. Some stupid shit like that. The arrow of slaying. I rolled a natural 20 on that shit. And yeah, I was left there dumbfounded. And then I had to like walk out of the apartment for like a minute just to process what the fuck just happened while everyone was there dying laughing at me. So I don't know if that comes across as funny as it was in the moment. But yeah, I was both incredibly salty and incredibly amused. And it's because it's one of those moments you think, oh yeah, this is going to be epic. I'm going to destroy this guy. And it turns out that the arrow of slaying was this joke item. So, yeah. That's one anecdote that I very, very clearly recall. Lots of emotions going on. Salt and sweet all kind of mixing together vigorously. So yeah, I mean, just memories like those is why I play D&D. It's not about nerds rolling dice and talking about how powerful their wizard is. It's about communal storytelling. Ultimately it's about camaraderie is what it is. It's everyone working towards telling an awesome story that we'll remember for ages to come. So that's that. That is my D&D anecdote. What else do we have here? I think I'll answer one or two more. Devon Devon Fox. You told me how to pronounce it, but sometimes I forget. It's Devon Fox, right? Yes. I know you can do a good impression of David Haytersnake, but do you think you could do a good impression of Mark Hamill's Joker? That'd be pretty interesting. Oh man. No, probably not. Kind of like it's not the same. I think my voice is too young sound. I don't know. I've tried it, but it always feels off. God, now that I'm in the spotlight, I'm like apprehensive about doing it. Oh, bats! No, I don't. No, that didn't sound good. God, I wish I knew like one of the monologues, because I could like kind of imitate Mark Hamill. But yeah, the best I can do is try a poor imitation of Mark Hamill's Joker. It's just a very tough, you really have to, like, get into it, and, I don't know, maybe with practice, I might be able to nail it, but for now, not so much. Oh, well, people are saying that was actually pretty good. I appreciate the compliments. Yeah, thanks, Mind D Spot, Aliakse Kubiatsky, and Princess Stabbity. So, I guess I'll take one more question since we have like a couple minutes left before I have to go and do some stuff. Yeah, this is always so much fun. Just a nice break from everything. And you guys always ask questions that make me, I don't know, ponder about my own life. Which is something I just don't do much these days. So, yeah, thanks for just being engaged, or for being here. But yeah, I mean, if you guys don't have any more questions, we can just call it a day. Tevin Fox says, I'll make you do it, it referring to the, I guess, the Mark Hamill Joker imitation, for a Patreon request. Hey, man, if that's what you want, go for it. I'll certainly, that'll give me an opportunity to practice a little bit, get into character or whatever before I attempt my poor man's Mark Hamill Joker. Yeah, I'll call it a day. And Stephen McDevitt says, an hour's good enough. It's nearly 2 a.m. where I am. Love this. Well, I'm glad you love this, because ultimately I do these Q&As for you guys, to meet you guys, to chat with you guys, and it's just always a blast to hang out. Anyway, there you go, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in to our February. How do you say February? Is it February? February? I feel like I'm always saying it wrong. Anyway, thanks for tuning in to the February 28th, 2018 Patreon Q&A. I'm glad you all had fun, as much fun as I did, and God, what have I done with that yab? New gifts are coming, so that's something to look forward to. And okay, so people are telling me how to pronounce February. Fuck. Yeah. So let's see. Bangston Skooma says February. And then Devin Fox says February. I feel like everyone just has their own way of saying it. I don't know. No matter how I say it, I feel like it's wrong. Whatever. You know, I'll say it the Yong way, aight? But I'll keep the tips in mind, though. I do want to... I always appreciate when people correct my pronunciations, because I don't always pronounce words right, because, again, English is not my first language, so give me a little break, guys. So everyone's saying the R silent, so that's something I'll keep in mind. February. Yeah, February. I'm getting different feedback. Whatever. Anyway, this topic we will talk about at a later time. With that, I will see you guys next time. Yong out.